We look at the camera.
You
Okay.
look at the camera.
You got this. No, you got it. I believe in you. Okay.
Why does he do that? You're so bad. Right when we're getting ready to start, you're so bad. You're such a brat.
I was being affirming.
No, you weren't.
Brian, wasn't
You
I being
knew.
affirming? That looked very affirmative.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of this thing called Church. This is episode number 13, lucky 13 maybe. And today is November 17th.
Woo.
So crazy, because just 2 weeks ago we were just talking about All Saints, and now here we are, like next week is Thanksgiving.
Scary.
Yeah, I'm having anxiety about the holidays.
Are you hosting people?
We're going away.
Nice.
Yeah. So have you decorated yet for Christmas?
No.
No.
It's not Thanksgiving yet.
I know. So we always
Sorry.
decorate the day after Thanksgiving, but since we're going away, I'm going to do it this weekend. So when I come back, I
Did you
don't
get your
have
tree?
You're good to go.
No.
Okay.
The tree will be the first weekend in December,
Gotcha.
but
Everything else.
will be done so that when I come back, I don't have to worry about that on top of everything else.
Just do the tree.
You
Yeah.
don't know this, but last year she had a tree story. So
We
that
had a
was-
COVID tree last year,
Oh.
So it was like Charlie Brown tree, but
It-
COVID.
15-foot tall Charlie Brown tree.
We had a guy a church member once who wanted the biggest tree ever. And so he bought the biggest tree ever, and
Clark
he
Griswold.
put it on top of his car. And he when he got it home, he backed up to the car with his shoulders, and he said, told his wife, just roll it onto my back, and I'll carry it in. And she rolled it over on him, and it pinned him on the ground. She had to get a neighbor to help her get it off of him. Yeah, I hope that's not the Payne household
No,
Christmas
not
story
yet.
this year.
No, not yet.
Yeah, that was so funny. And then he had to put guy wires on it when he got it in the house because he was afraid it would fall over and hurt one of the kids. So,
I was afraid I was going to end up with and that's how we did that funeral or something,
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
No funerals.
I was waiting for that.
No
I'm not gonna
church
laugh
members
till-
were harmed.
Okay, good.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, no, we haven't had that happen.
Yeah.
We've had one fall down in the middle
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
night. But
We had
That's-
spiders come out in the middle of Christmas Day. That was scary.
That's not good.
When the kids were little.
oh, that's. Did
And
you
Liz
throw
was
the
like,
tree out?
Yeah, it's like at that moment. Cindy was like, get this thing out. And it's like, I guess it had been like an egg sack or something. It just was like, Annalise was like 2 or 3, and she was like, what's that? It was like a horror movie.
Well, yeah, because then they it's bad. It's like almost as bad as lice. Like
It was the fastest and most efficient undecorating of a tree we've ever done.
Here you go.
ugh, yeah.
Well, I hope your experience with the tree is better.
Well,
than
yeah.
that.
Well, it was just because there was a shortage last year, and we went
Oh,
to
yeah.
the tree lot
Yeah.
that we always go to, and we went not late, early, and they were like, that all that's left are good luck, find what you want over there. And there were like 3 trees that were laying down, and other families were coming in to look at them. We're like, get a tree. And we, wrapped, and, they held it up. Yeah, it looks good. Get it on the car. And then we got it home, and it was like,
Huge.
it was huge, and it was also just completely misshaped. like the most awkward shaped tree. And every night I just look at it and be like, what in the world? I mean, God made it. It was beautiful. But,
That's absolutely right.
yeah. But as I was hanging the lights on it, I was like, oh my God, this is a mess. But I just called it my COVID tree. So we did take our family Christmas card picture, and we just do the kids. So it's just the kids. Nobody
Yeah.
wants us on the picture, on the card. And so it's always a 10-minute, come on, get dressed, all that. And they're teenagers now, so I figured it'd be fast, it'd be not a
Right.
problem. But of course, there was always an argument. And then they're complaining about how I'm taking the picture. Mom, you're too close, because I'm old, and so how I hold the camera they don't like. So what did they do? Sarah takes it, and they just do a selfie shot.
And?
And it worked out.
Yes, okay. I like she's complaining, and then she's like, yeah,
And actually, so
Yeah,
from
this
that,
is better.
this is actually better. We'll just use that.
they actually posed better for the selfie
Yeah, of course they did.
than they did for me taking a camera picture. So anyway,
Lovely.
just have to get those ordered now. But that's that. I brought a turkey. Well, not a real turkey, but
I think that's
a
me.
stuffed.
Kevin's the real turkey.
What is this like a I saw that was like you stick it on. Oh, you don't want to tell me that story?
No, it's a wine. It goes on a bottle of wine, but
Oh.
I didn't think the wine would be
No.
appropriate. So I thought that was cute.
Well, once I started, I thought, oh no, it's a toilet paper thing, kind of a thing.
Toilet paper one.
I don't know.
No. There's,
Like covers a candle on the back of the toilet.
Yeah. There's lots of things at Cracker Barrel. You could get that, I'm sure.
He's cute.
He's
it was
cute.
a gift from some of the women on staff.
Well, it's almost here too.
I know.
Next
I
week.
know.
Week from tomorrow.
So we could put this in the end, but we'll talk about it now. Bring your harvest procession bags.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talking about turkeys and Thanksgiving. On Sunday is the big procession of the bags. So go
Yep.
shopping, pick up a yellow bag if you haven't, and
Please
Bring
bring
it
them. There are
back.
bags left around the building, so if you don't have one, come get it. We need 600 bags for 300 families.
Yeah.
So
well, I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
I think we will.
We are prepared. We moved furniture yesterday in the chancel.
Wow.
To make that happen.
Such a beautiful sight.
Yeah. And we didn't get to do that last year, so I'm really,
Yeah.
or it was a muted experience.
Yeah.
it'll be a good day.
It will be a good day.
Okay, so our topic for today is Christ the King Day. And Kevin told me this was a made-up holiday.
Well, they're sort of all made up.
I think they're all, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that, it's not, well, you had said it's not
new.
It's not in the
It is
Bible.
relatively
It's not in the Bible.
Right. So
less than 100 years old.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So why? So most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, just because I'm sure a lot of people are not necessarily familiar with Christ the King Day. It wasn't on my calendar.
Yeah.
It's on our
not a-
calendar.
it's not a Hallmark day, no.
Right. It's not a commercialized day. But what is Christ the King, and what is the importance behind it?
Doesn't get as much press as, say, Easter,
No.
No.
Christmas, Pentecost, even. Yeah. 1925.
Yep.
Which pope
Pope Pius XI.
established the Feast of Christ the King? And in response to...
It's the rising fascism that was coming up in Europe and around the world. I know that sounds really exciting.
Yeah. So it's a day that, I mean, it is biblical
Sure.
in that Christ is King, Lord of all,
Right.
Lord and King. I mean, that is a refrain throughout the New Testament, and particularly in places like Revelation 22, when you get that image of the river flowing from the throne of God and the tree of life and all of that. But the idea that it's the creed from thence he shall come to judge the living and the dead. That Christ sits at the right hand of the Father, and from there judges is Lord of all creation. Or from the Nicene Creed, nothing was made without Christ, and all things were made through Christ. And in the Eastern Church, there's this image of Christ, the Pantocrator, and in a lot of Greek and a lot of Eastern iconography, there's Christ sometimes will be depicted on the cross, even holding a globe and the sun and the moon, and it like, here is the Lord of all
Right.
things, and so that's kind of the image that Christ is Lord and King, in the most full and complete sense of what all of that means.
So this Pope just decides to add this. Does it have to get approved? I mean, like, how does that come about? Where he just says,
I'm sure
I
there
wanna
was a
add-
council or something that
Yeah.
advised him.
And so just because the Catholics created this, then we decided to celebrate it as well. Like others decided to add it and agreed with, oh yeah, that does sound like a good one. Let's add that to our.
Yeah, that's the Revised Common Lectionary, the Methodists and the Presbyterians kind of all agreed to go with this, and so we picked that up as well with the church year, the liturgical year.
Yeah, and so it is this coming Sunday. It's the 21st. I think it can happen on the 20th, as early as the 20th and as late as the 26th of November. And all that has to do with when Easter is and when Pentecost is and how long the season after Pentecost is, and then when Advent begins. And it's the last Sunday in the Christian year, before we begin a new Christian year, which is Advent 1. And because it happens around Thanksgiving, there'll be a lot of churches on Sunday that'll have a Thanksgiving theme, and they won't even reference Christ the King Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And then there'll be, like for us, I think Diane preached last year on Christ the King Sunday, and she said that she spoke more about Thanksgiving.
Right.
This year she's going
gonna
to preach
speak
on
more
Christ the
about it.
King Sunday, and she's going to talk more about Christ the King.
Right.
So,
And you said you've done a lot of sermons on.
it's one of my favorite days.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an odd day to have as a favorite, right?
Oh, I mean,
But it kind of, it has, if we think about what is Christ King and Lord of our lives, which Christ is. We don't get to decide if Christ is or not. We decide whether or not we're going to live into that and from it. Mm-hmm. But it's just true. Christ is Lord and King. And the question is then, what do we do with that? Like, do we just ignore it and have other lords and kings in our lives? Mm. Or do we try to live into that truth and out of that truth so that all of life then is shaped by Christ who is Lord and King? Will Wellman used to say, we're all offering our lives on some altar all the time, whether it's the altar of the economy or the altar of the state or the altar of family or whatever it is. We just want to make sure that we're offering our lives on the correct altar.
Mm-hmm.
right.
And that would be the Christ's table. So
I think it's important. I think Kevin brought props today.
I know he did.
He brought show and tell, but it's actually really cool. But I think it's I'm glad you brought this actually, because we talk about Christ the King. We talk about, like, we'll hear words like the liturgical calendar, and our bulletin is always like the 23rd Sunday after Pentecost, right? And that's what we're in right now. And I think for the average churchgoer, they're probably like, what is all of this? Like, what does it mean? And like, I just figured, I kind of had an idea of liturgical calendar, but when Kevin brings this for confirmation, and he goes over it, and it's really cool. It looks a little bit like the Chinese
it does.
calendar with the rooster and the year of the whatever. But I think tying in our theme of Christ the King Day, like, because it's the last Sunday of the liturgical calendar, so it's almost like a new year. So it is kind of a big celebration.
Yep.
I think it's important to, like, for those that are visual, to be able to see how, I guess this is how our church calendar works.
Right.
This is how we preach, kind of. These are like the readings that you guys select, or how you select the readings, but then how you preach the sermons. But Kevin, with his fancy wand, can, I know. I told him, I said, this thing you almost need, like, you are here.
Yeah.
Like, you want to,
Sure.
Where are we, Kevin?
Where are we?
So the way to read this, this is a wheel, so it represents, and then we were joking about this, and there's no beginning or end. So, however, this is the first Sunday of Advent. So this is the first Sunday of Advent in 2020.
Oh, so this is old?
Yeah, this is the last week. So this is where we are here, which is the 34th Sunday after Pentecost. Christ the King, and Lord of the universe, or King of the universe here. So every church year starts the first Sunday of Advent. So this would have been, the end of December, I think, would have been beginning of December. Nope. So it's 29th of November, 2020.
Just close.
It's really close.
Yeah.
Really close. So all the Sundays are on the outside here, and everything progresses away from Sunday. So we're kind of highlighting that every Sunday is the most important. We kind of go through, and then it cycles through. And then these are all different colors of the liturgical year, and that's blue for Advent. Christmas is gold. Green for ordinary time. Ordinary doesn't mean boring. It just means we're ordering the life of Christ here. Lent, purple. Then Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday. Easter here to Pentecost. And then the bulk of the year, something like 60%, is in this ordinary green. And then, because Brian asked us, our digital ministries director, what does this all mean?
He said, "What is it? Why does it matter?
Why does it matter?
Why does it
That's
matter?"
a great question. When I teach the confirmands, this is what I say. In our daily lives, we celebrate birthdays, Thanksgiving, Christmas as a secular thing too, as well as Mother's Day. So we, as a human beings, we like to mark time and celebrate things. And this is a way for us to kind of stay grounded or rooted in And God's time, which is outside of the January to December 31st time. This is God's time. What is that? Kairos time?
Oh yeah.
Kairos time, which is out of our 60-minute hour time. So hopefully that makes sense to Brian back there and everybody else.
One is time ordered principally around the life of Christ.
Right.
The life, death, resurrection, ascension of Jesus.
And this is every year. Looks different. So I'll have to order another one for the confirmands, and they each get a copy of this. But they have different artists every year do these things here. And this is where you're talking about the Panto. This is Christ in the center actually. And if you're watching at home, this is not a glare from the from the lights here. This has actually been blurred out because there's so much holiness that you can't see the face of God or face of Jesus.
Yeah.
And these are people, all the saints sitting around the great feast in heaven. And it says, holy, 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 from Isaiah 6. Sanctus, which is the Latin version of that. Hagios is Greek. How did you pronounce that, Hebrew?
Kadosh.
Kadosh. And then Santo in Spanish. Sort of representing the worldwide nature of the church, the Christian church.
Yeah. And so where we are is we're right there. That'll be Christ the King Sunday this year.
Yep.
And then on the 28th of November,
we would pop here.
We'll jump there to Advent 1.
And I don't have next year, so I apologize. I wasn't prepared.
Which is the beginning of, because it's signified by the number 1, obviously. Right. It is the beginning of a new new Christian year.
Right.
So our year is oriented again around the life of Christ. It begins with the preparation for the birth, and then goes through cycles through the life of Christ, rather than following a secular calendar, which is January the 1st.
But here's what's interesting, because we go by 52 weeks a year. There's 352 weeks, and they don't obviously. If you added all those up, does that add up to?
Yeah. So this is Advent 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry.
Right, because it goes 4 and then it
restarts here.
And then
baptism of the Lord. This is second Sunday in ordinary time,
And some of the seasons can shrink or grow. Advent never does because it's always four Sundays before Christmas. But some of the other seasons can shrink and grow depending on when Easter falls, or principally when Easter falls, because that then determines when Pentecost is, which then determines how long the season of Pentecost is before Advent begins again. So the seasons can. They sometimes you don't have as many Sundays after Pentecost in one year. The next year maybe you'll have more Sundays after Pentecost. So the calendar can look a little bit different from year to year.
Right. That's because there's actually two calendars at once. There's the temporal, what he's talking about, and then the sanctorale. So the sanctorale, all these are saints in here. If you're watching from home wondering what these are, this is a Roman Catholic publication, and those stay. That's why December 25th is Jesus' birthday. Yeah. Because that stays the same, but like you said, Easter.
They're a movable feast, like Easter.
Oh.
Easter moves around.
Right.
Depending on the moon.
Right, yes.
Yep. And then, but then there are feasts that are fixed, always on the same day. So like Christmas is always December 25th.
Right. That's pretty cool. There's you could just look at that first. So just even the artwork. And
the artwork is really cool.
You even said there's the Last Supper.
There's the Last Supper here, and then there's the Calvary. And then I should, on the back of this is a whole description. I didn't look at it before we taped it on there. She's asking me what's that mean? I'm like, I don't know.
Are those the Gospels?
I think those are the Gospels. Yeah. So is Luke the? I can't remember. St. John and all the different Gospels here are surrounding.
Yeah. So the evangelists surrounding Christ.
Yeah. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
And
I don't know who's the people around.
The Lamb.
Yep. Right here on the table, and then there's. There's some feast stuff, and there's just different stuff.
There's so much symbolism there.
To look at.
There's so much, So if somebody wanted to purchase one of these, could you provide me the link, and I'll put it in the email, because somebody may.
I'll give this one to this end of year clearance. I'll give this to them since it's
out for one more week,
one more Sunday. But I can order more of the paper copies.
Yeah.
For next year. So not just if you're interested in this stuff.
Yeah, I will hang mine up this year. He gave me one a couple years ago.
It's okay. My daughter threw hers away too, so don't feel bad.
Well, like you said though, it was outdated, right? So it wouldn't matter. But it is pretty to look at. Yeah.
It's inspiring.
It is.
It is.
It's good, and it does. It does. One of the things that it does, and one of the things I think that the lectionary is in some ways a companion to this. It's the designated readings for any particular Sunday, an Old Testament reading, a psalm, an epistle lesson, and a gospel reading for each Sunday of the year, and then also for like the holy days, like for Christmas and Easter and Pentecost, other days. But so one of the things it does, or I find it helpful, is it does force you out of sort of what you would normally be thinking about in your own agenda to have to deal with the agenda of the Scripture or the agenda of the Christian year. So that rather than me, making a Sunday about the start of baseball season,
Right.
I have to say, no, this is about 2 weeks after the Easter. So what do we really need to be thinking about here? Because, in God gets, I said this in staff meeting the other day, God gets 52 hours a year of our undivided attention if we're engaged in those 52 Sundays. Most of us aren't because we go on vacation and we do other things. But just think about it. That's 2 days and 4 hours
Yeah.
out of the year. 2 days and 4 hours to focus on this, on the story, our story that should shape all of our life. So it's really important to have resources like this that force us out of what the way the world is trying to shape us, those 364 other days of the year, and be drawn back into the story that should be the narrative that defines our life. So that's why I like Christ the King Sunday, is because it does question all of the other things to which we pledge our allegiance.
Yeah.
And is a reminder that none of those are ultimate. None of those deserve our ultimate allegiance. We can honor other things and we can be loyal to other things, but none of them deserve or should be given our ultimate allegiance. That's to Christ and Christ the King alone. So that's why days like that are important.
Wow. Yeah, and that's what, no Hallmark cards for that day. You know
No.
what I mean? It's
not very
unfortunate.
marketable.
No, but like you said, it's really important. And yet, you can't.
I think it's a corrective to the kind of tribal, toxic politics that we find ourselves, where people are divided up into their camps. And if while we're there in those places, if we can remember, I don't belong to this party, and I don't belong to that candidate, and I don't even belong to that idea. I belong to Christ. I've been bought with a price. I've been baptized. I'm in Christ. And ultimately, that's what matters most when I make decisions or think about life or decide how I'm going to treat other people or spend my money or whatever. Yeah. So, we do let other things, though, creep in and push Christ out.
I have to remember that over the holidays.
Yeah.
Over
Me too.
Thanksgiving when you're having
Me
all
too.
those family dinners and discussions.
Yeah. Well, and I also think it shows us how to live our lives as well. Like you said, like that. I'm thinking about Philippians as a 2, and it says, "Let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus." And it talks about what kind of a king Jesus is. He's humbled himself and poured out himself over, even unto death. And so a lot of our things that we value, sometimes that's, not the model that we see. It's self-glorification. So I think that's where Christ the King is helpful. It's not just a guy in a throne room but somebody that came down from heaven and poured out himself.
It's a different kind of king.
Yeah.
And it's different than Christmas, because Christmas is just celebrating his birth, but we do we do sing hymns about him being king then.
Yep.
Right.
But it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all of the days are distinct in their own way, and yet because we know the fullness of the story, they're all intertwined.
Yeah.
Easter is present at the nativity. The nativity is present at Easter. When you think about it, this is Mary's son.
Right.
So all the Christ that is king is also the crucified one, and the one born of Mary's womb. So all of the days are interrelated, even though they do distinctly emphasize some aspect of Christ's life. So.
Or someone say like the wood of the manger is related to the wood of the cross, and that kind of, and the table. That there's always this theme running through.
Yeah, it's a beautiful life.
Do they teach this in seminary?
Mm-hmm.
They do. Like, do you have classes?
Yes.
Like, you have classes on this count? Like,
I didn't have a beautiful chart like that.
No, I didn't either. Actually.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know where I was at a different church, probably 15 years ago, and I saw this. It was an Episcopal church,
Yeah.
And I was singing at a church, and I thought, man, that's cool. I like that.
And probably, again, varying degrees in different seminaries.
Yeah.
You know, depending on your tradition. More Protestant-leaning traditions probably touch on this, but maybe don't spend a whole lot of time with it. They tend to follow a more secular calendar in church life. The more sort of sacramental the tradition you're a part of, Methodists, Episcopalians, Lutherans, Catholics, the more time and energy would be focused around this. So it's not that focusing on this or not focusing on it is wrong. It's not like, you know, they're somehow less Christian than churches that do follow the Christian year. It's just a different way of ordering
it's
time.
like a reference. It's like you know, it's a good benchmark and reference and
And in my world, like I know everybody had a different college experience, and mine was certainly wonderful. That all my friends were organists, and we would all meet up at lunch, you know, Burger King or whatever. And I would, what did your preacher preach on for Christ the King? And it was the liturgical year and the lectionary helped us kind of hear different perspectives.
Oh wow!
Even within that, so and it's still even now. I'll have friends, hey, what are you guys singing for Christ the King Sunday? Or, you know.
So what are we singing?
Crown Him Lord of All, with a violin.
Ooh.
Fiddle. Actually, it's probably better accurately described as a fiddle. But we'll have bells, and it's gonna be a big Sunday. We got an instrumental ensemble playing and 2 different bell choirs, so it's gonna be and bringing up groceries for the harvest procession. It's gonna be a good day.
A beautiful day.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be great.
I had a guy one time take out his violin out of his case and say, "This is a violin." And he put it back in his case.
Took
and
it
he took it out and said, "This is a fiddle."
Fiddle just sounds more approachable. I thought maybe people would like to know that we have a fiddle at church. Violin sounds sophisticated.
Right, violins
Sounds like
for
rudder.
All Saints.
Yes.
Right, but every other day of the year we just have fiddles.
It's kind of an Irish tune. That's the way it's set.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. So it's got an Irish feel to it. So it's going to be good.
Cool. Well, that was wonderful. Definitely some good points to think about and remember, especially the holidays when you're with family and have different viewpoints on things.
Yeah, bring up Christ the King at your Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
It'll save you from politics.
Yes.
Right. It will.
Yes.
It'll be a much more enjoyable
Talk
day.
about the Pantocrator or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll great with Grandma.
So in other announcements, we have, as we discussed, we have Advent coming up. It's right around the corner. So we'll have a lot of amazing services during that time. There's a Advent prayer vigil service, which is, I think, the 29th of November. So that will be like an Advent 1-hour service followed by our 24-hour prayer vigil. So we've got that, and then we've got Hope and Healing service, December 19th. And then, of course, our normal Sunday services. And then we've got Christmas Eve, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 11.
11 has Holy Communion.
Yep.
And then on December 5th, we have a new service, a Compline service, which is an order of the day that's really the last bit. And so we have a group of people coming from Asheville to sing with us and people from around Charlotte that are going to be joining our singers.
And that will be in the chapel.
And that will be in the chapel, which is a beautiful place. Very simple. There's no sermon. Sorry. I sounded really excited when I said that. There's no sermon.
You did. You sounded
it's just
overjoyed.
music. It's just music.
There's no sermon that day.
Sadly, there's no sermon.
You're heartbroken, I can tell.
12th is with brass, and then the 19th is lessons and carols.
Right.
So we've got a lot going on.
We have a lot going on. And we actually will have a service on Christmas Day, which is Saturday. So we'll have it Friday, Saturday, and then our normal Sunday service.
Christmas Day is at 9 a.m., informal, casual communion, probably 40-minute service, maybe, something like that, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Come as you are. Bring family if they're with you. Don't have to get dressed up. Just come and worship.
I'm hoping David's buying breakfast for everybody, but he's not committed to that yet.
Like at the convenient, at the QT, that's the only thing that's going to be open.
Everybody gets up.
You're all getting beef jerky and bad coffee.
I'll take it.
So keep your eye out for communications with all of the upcoming events. We've got a lot going on. And then on top of that, too, we have like the Advent wreath, where families can make an Advent wreath. We've got Joseph's Workshop, where kids can make gifts for family members. So there's a lot. This is a busy time. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's
Did you mention Mission Mall? We'll
Mission
be here
Mall,
again
that's
this Sunday.
right. This Sunday, your last chance to get some great gifts to help out our mission partners in the community. So that's this Sunday. There's a lot.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. So, but it's exciting because last year.
Yeah, we didn't do anything last year, so this is great.
Well, we did.
Well, no, we did stuff, but not in person.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
We
did a
we
whole
had
lot.
to adapt.
Yes.
But this is exciting to kind of be back and somewhat normal.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see everybody at Christmas Eve. Like, that's
I know.
thrilled.
It'll be a beautiful day.
Yep. With the candles.
Yep.
Get your candles ordered.
I think we actually have plenty of candles because we didn't use them last year. So
Did you order them last year?
Yeah, well, I think we thought that.
You thought maybe.
You know,
Okay.
I'm a hopeful guy, you know.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, we will be back in 2 weeks. Our discussion in 2 weeks is about Advent, keeping a holy Advent, and it starts on, I think that's December 1st.
Right.
Right.
So, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Have a great day.
Cam Newton's back. We can talk about that.
Oof.
We could start doing that in worship. Right before the offering, we won't say anything. We'll just go.
Is that the blessing? Are they giving us that? That's 3.
The quadrinity.
Yes. Yeah, the This is the Wesley quadrilateral. We're reminding people. I think it's really great that it's a circle because it has no beginning or ending. Like a wedding ring, David.
The symbolism of the wedding ring.
I just made sure Kim said obey.
Yeah. I can imagine that went over well. So,
Let's just say it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Still hasn't happened. 31 years later. I did get a haircut recently. I got it trimmed.
Is that are you asking because you think,
Yeah. It's curly.
Hey,
it gets a little longer. It gets
David,
curly.
don't take it personally. He just told me my head was misshapen. So,
Yeah. Well, we are batting 1,000 today, Kevin. You know, this is the kind of stuff they start to say before they get new talent.
I know. Have you started a diet lately? Have you thought about starting a diet?
Who's picking out your clothes?